Hey guys, and welcome back to another installment in Criterion of the Month series. Today I'll be talking about the Japanese surrealist ghost film House. And as always, let's first take a look at the packaging. Alright, so here's the wonderfully orange front of the box featuring the film's iconic cat. I really like the font they used for the title, and seated inside the U, we see the house itself, the haunted house in the movie. The spine is nothing flashy, but it does the job, and the orange is easy to pick out on my shelf. It says this is spine number 539. Onto the back, we have this very colorful background, very reminiscent of the film itself. There's also a synopsis, some technical specs, and a list of special features. At first glance, it didn't look like this was as special feature filled as some other Criterion's releases that we've looked at, but in my review, I'll explain a bit why they're still quite impressive, especially one in particular. All right, on the disc, I'll spin that around a little bit, we have a different depiction of the cat, and if we remove the disc, we have a nice little collage of pictures taken during the shooting, posters, and other house-related images. We also get a little booklet with an essay on the film, some very colorful stills, and info about the transfer, so let's go check that out. Alright, here's the booklet that I was mentioning, and I'm just going to quickly flip through so you can see some of the images in here. And there's also a nice essay on the film itself, so we'll just flip through here really quickly, show you some of the images. Really like the colors throughout this booklet. It's a really nice one. And then you got some about the transfer, special thanks, acknowledgements. There's the cat. Before we talk about House, I want to quick say a little bit about director Nobuhiko Obayashi's emotion. Not his feelings, but the 1966 short film, which was included in the supplements of this film. Emotion, it has it all. Vampirism, the ocean, fourth wall breaks, bilingual narration, and a healthy dose of what the hell was I actually just watching? Seriously, much like House, it's hard to comment on this in any sort of traditional way. I can praise the cinematography, for example. I really liked the use of color-filtered black and white shots, interspersed with color film, and visually there were very many striking scenes. Or I could also praise the acting, which, though it didn't feel always professional, it really worked for the zany and surreal whatever this was. But I find it was just so odd that to sum it up would probably be a mess. But what about House? Well, again, this is such a surreal film that even though I could sum it up as a haunted house with an appetite, that's nowhere near capturing the film's oddity. Even describing some of the stranger scenes, like the famous floating head scene, doesn't give you an idea of how out there House was. But what about the question of, well, what even is House? Genre-wise, is it a horror film? A bit of a musical? Perhaps a mystery? Yeah, probably. What about the themes or morals in the movie? not to trust a creepy distant aunt, that dwelling on tragedy, in the case of this film World War II, is certain to yield negative consequences. Maybe the latter, and I think you guys probably see a trend here, and that's that this film's about as realistic as something out of Alice in Wonderland or a particularly musical fever dream, and my recommendation to anyone interested is to just sit back and enjoy the wild ride. Now, I did touch upon something that I feel many first time viewers of House might not pick up on quite as much, and that's the World War II connection. Though it is clearly mentioned throughout in the film, I think that the sheer surrealism on a level that rivals films like Fantastic Planet and The Holy Mountain does sort of make it hard to remember this seemingly small detail. However, it might be one of the most important. To give you guys a little background, the director himself was from Hiroshima, and for anyone familiar with the Second World War, you'll know this was one of the cities that the US dropped a nuclear bomb on. Well, this obviously seriously affected the director, and he incorporated it into the film. From my understanding, from his interview on the disc, it's that the protagonist, Gorgeous's aunt, has become sort of an evil spirit that inhabits the house. So, even though House is nearly indescribable due to the surreal nature of the film, it clearly makes a philosophical statement. Those watching this version will certainly be blown away, in my opinion. The visual aspects are gorgeous, and it's quite apparent to me that Obayashi has an eye for vivid color. The vivid imagery reminded me of Fantastic Planet's colors, or really most everything I've seen by surrealist director Alejandro Jodorowsky. Clearly, mesmerizing colors have a way of adding to the surreal nature of a film. If you don't like full-frame movies, you might be a bit disappointed with the aspect ratio of House, but for me, that gave the film an older and therefore more detached from modern reality feel to it. Really, I don't have much anything negative to say about the transfers of either films on this disc, and it looks like they made the very most of the source material. So, if you want to kick off October with a hallucinogenic ghost story that'll blow your mind, I fully recommend checking out House. Let me know your thoughts on this film in the comments below, and otherwise, keep it psychic and keep it real.